is up, buds? Welcome to Weed&d, the pot positive live tabletop role-playing experience. I am your dungeon master for the night, Brandon Allen McClanahan, but my buds call me Bam. Holy crap, dudes. What a freaking sesh we had last week. I'm still buzzing from it. Thank you to everybody who sent all the lovely messages, man. Honestly, it's such a great feedback to just hear from you guys that you're digging what we're throwing down. Even I have to say is like I've played a ton of D&D in my life. Some of these last sessions were just like epic on this scale that honestly only these fine people that I get to play with tend to bring. So thank you to my lovely players. Thank you to the buds for all the amazing support. We are going to keep building this thing bigger and better every time. We are working on resolving this our prologue here to Ganjaria here pretty soon. We're kind of in the final arc now. And so we're going to start seeing some of these storylines come to a close. And then for those of you that are new with us or don't already know, we will be launching our Ganjaria campaign where all of these lovely players will be playing in the studio that we built for this show. And we will be exploring the world of Ganjaria where magic comes from the plant of the Feywild. GANJA. So that's a campaign setting of my own design that we will be playing through in our we call it the live campaign because we'll all be here in the studio together. And let me tell you, man, if you dig what we're doing now, just wait until you see these live performers all together and when we can touch and push and shake and laugh and giggle. It's going to be amazing. I'm highly looking forward to it. Thanks to everybody who supported us along this crazy journey that, since we started. We launched on 420 last year and we have been almost weekly ever since. So just a testament to the amazing people that I'm blessed to work with, and the incredible community. You guys seriously keep my fire going all the time, especially through the week. Thank you for all the very awesome, wonderful messages about the show and just the people in this group and how this community makes everybody feel. That is just as much a part of the community as it is us. So thank you guys so much for being a welcoming, wonderful group of people where no matter what kind of week you had, if you come here, you're going to have a good time. So speaking of good times, let's fucking have us a good time, man. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to pass this joint here through the magical fibers of the interwebs to my dear and wonderful friend, Brenna Folger, who actually, Brenna, you and I are about to work on something together. Isn't that right?
Yes, Bam. Bam, that is correct. Me, you, Drew, Abby, and also our buddy Max. We're all going to work together on some really awesome stuff. A live show called Roleplay House. Going to happen on the 23rd. That's the Saturday of this month, October. So we're having that. We're going to do a live D&D one shot that Bam is creating with our buddy Dave. You guys all know Dave from the chat, from the Discord. And it's going to be incredible. We're going to be rolling big D20s and making big hopes and dreams. Hopefully we all die at the end, right? That's the goal.
Have you been reading my notes?
He's like, and then they all die. The end.
The end.
But yeah, I am Brenna Folger, Prince Brunor, the Serpent Slayer. And holy shit, I just killed the Shadow Dragon. Holy shit. That's big news. That's Big Daddy news. So I'm very stoked about that. And also, for today, I'm just gonna say, fuck Christopher Columbus, man. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day yesterday, but fuck Christopher Columbus every day. What do you think, Drew?
Oh, hey, thanks, Brenna. I agree. Fuck Christopher Columbus. Fuck him in his stupid ass. That's right. Christopher Columbus is fucking clown shoes. That's right. Hi, guys. Drew. Thorcus the Dwarf. Fucking level 11. Big Papa Sketty bringing the big damage.
103.
Bam. Fucking it all up for me. Surprise, surprise. All up in your eyes. That's right. Anyways, let's have some fun today. We've been doing some pretty epic shit. I'm kind of looking forward to figuring out what the fuck we're going to do next. And I'm just glad you guys are here for the ride. So, best friend, I'm going to airdrop this to you. How you doing, bud?
Oh. Received, signed, sealed, delivered from my best friend. Oh, man. What's up, buds? I'm sorry I missed y'all last week. I definitely missed y'all. Jake Taylor here is Riel Othervan, the level 11 arcane trickster rogue, and a new revenant. But whether you're dead or alive, fuck Christopher Columbus. What a weak ass, pasty ass motherfucker. Get out of here. Fuck Christopher Columbus. Anyway, I'm ready for some D&D, and we can't do it without my buddy Gus. What's going on, buddy?
Whoa! Thank you, Jake. That's right. It is your boy, Gus Two Blunts Langley, playing Divot, the Revenant Warlock Bard. And I gotta say, I'm a little confused about all the hate on Chris Columbus. I thought that Home Alone was an American classic. Oh, hold on. What? Oh, it's not the same guy.
Not the same guy. It's not.
Okay, I'm hearing that Christopher Columbus is a terrible person and that I'm getting them. Okay, all right, thanks. Anyway, over to you, Bam.
Yes, you're getting your lines, crisscrossed for Columbus. I'm so sorry. I'm not even that high yet. But that joke happened nevertheless. Yes, I would also like to say fuck Christopher Columbus and his ship, the Nina, the Pinta, and the fuck you, Maria. I hate Christopher Columbus. He's a piece of shit. Happy National Indigenous Peoples Days, friends. Our celebration was yesterday. But, you know, it's always good to remember, fuck Christopher Columbus. But fuck that piece of shit. Let's get back to the shit that we love to do, and that is playing D&D with my favorite people in the world. We are, just to confirm what Brendan was talking about there, Role Playhouse happening October 23rd at 8 p.m. over at the Playhouse. It is a collaboration with Art Heart Studios and the Playhouse LV, a phenomenal theater out here in town. If you're a local bud or you're in the Las Vegas area, come check this out. It is going to be our first live play event. And just as the DM, let me tell you, it's going to be fucking wild. So speaking of shit that's going to be fucking wild, I say we kick this thing off, but in order to do so, we got us a little ritual we like to do around here. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't. Oh, wait a minute. I'm jumping ahead. We love you, Abby. Our dear Abby, the reason we're down to 4 tonight, she is performing tonight in a sexy burlesque show over downtown in Las Vegas right now. If you're there, we envy you. But we love you, Break Legs, sweetheart. You are the best, and we will miss you tonight. But we do have us a little ritual we like to do around here. Maybe you've heard about it, maybe you haven't, but we like to take a lighter, like this blue one right here. Make sure we're not going to light any of our friends, family, or household pets on fire and go. Lighters up. Let's play some fucking D&D.
WeeDnD, high fantasy, literally for you and me. So load up bowl and make a roll to take control. WeeDnD.
Ooh, oh man, that intro gets me every single time. Huge shout out to our man Sandy Stein. He makes all of the original music for this show. Everything you hear is original, and it's all made by one brilliant man, including that theme song. I know a lot of people think that's me singing that theme song. It is not. That's Sandy Stein, because he's amazing. But yes, our theme song, all this incredible music that you are hearing, designed by one brilliant man, and we love you, Sandy. All right, guys. If you will please allow me to set the mood. Oh, God, I love this shit. When last we left the Ferocious Five, they stood over the fallen corpse of the shadow dragon Exonius within the coral throne room of the fallen kingdom of Elmyyra. The battle was one of legend as the Five turned the light against the forces of darkness and stripped away the shadows that would protect the Dragon Lord. The quick strike blade struck true time and time again as the assault of Thoricus Onyxheart was put on display, aided by the searing radiant magics of Tina Smoothhands, who unleashed the light of the Green Lady and banished the remaining shadows from the royal chamber. The blood-sucking parasitic mushrooms unleashed within the dark creature by Divot attacked him from within, whilst Brunor mounted his thrashing head and echoed her strategy from her last draconic encounter to great effect. The ambush of Dr. Gast and Captain Creefus proved ineffective as each were captivated by Divot, one through his enchanting magics, the other through the promise of something valued again returned. They could do little more than look on as Exonius was pinned in place and decimated by the onslaught of the Five. Or rather, the four. For missing from this encounter was the newly revenant Rial Othravon, who had been plucked away by the hands of death himself amidst the battle. He did not witness Divot consume the acorn of Sithis' power from within Exonius, but we join him now as we see what follows. All right, guys, we jump back in. Rial. You're floating suspended in the air in the dimension of death. You know, you see the long stone, the cold stone staircase that leads up to the empty throne of death. Around you, an endless expanse of nothingness. And as you start to kind of focus on your surroundings, you start noticing the poor tortured souls that Divot had noticed the last time he was there. You see hundreds of thousands of these shades walking around seemingly with no order or purpose. The chaos of the presence of death without the finalization of that promise, the missing master sitting in the throne of death itself. You sit suspended in the air, kind of witnessing these shadows hurling around. When you look to their faces, you see nothing but hollowed pits of darkness, you know, each one of them with a form. You know, you see a dwarven frame here, an elven frame there, humans, men. You see creatures of the wilds, you know, not just the souls of the realm of men, but also the haunted lives that have been lost since, of both beast and man. You recall, Rial, you're standing in the coral throne room getting prepared to fight Exonius after Divot had pulled the spiritual essence of you out of your fallen frame. You remember standing there hiding behind the stone pillars, and when you turn over your shoulder to look at the battlefield, you see Brunor, Thoricus, Tina was not yet returned yet, Divot, Dr. Gast, and Exonius in this throne room. You know, you're getting ready to knock an arrow, prepared to fire, you know, working on what spell may come next. And as you turned, you realize all of them were frozen. You know, you've experienced this before, Rial, in your experience with Glorp, and some other times where you've actually had the world freeze around you, and so it doesn't catch you quite as off guard as it may have earlier in your travels. You turn and look up and you see descending the giant skeletal hand of death. You know, you kind of try to move away as it just plucks you up with zero effort, and you feel yourself pulled across the great expanse. The distance between the plane of death, the plane that kind of permeates every other plane itself and fills the negative spaces in between. You feel that cold air around you as you kind of hurl through the nothingness of space. And suddenly, as you arrive in the plane of death, you feel an immense heat. You feel this swelling fire. It's almost Rial as if you can feel a burning, intense anger all around you. As you start looking around, you see these giant fires start erupting at the feet of all of these souls around you. These magical red billowing flames start burning up from the ground underneath all these wandering souls. And as you see the fire build, the glowing red mask of death suddenly appears out of nothing. You see the red tainted, or the red stained skull of death itself, but rather than the dark hollow eye pits that you've seen in legend, you see a burning purple magic just furiously spinning around in the inside of his eye sockets. Beneath his massive head, you know, rather than the skeletal frame, it's just the red mask of death. You see fires burning up all around him. You feel an intense anger. And suddenly, you see Divot appears in front of you. You see his body is humming with power. You know, Rial, now attuned to the essence of Sithis, you feel this burning energy from within him, as if, you know, the acorn that he consumed from within Exonius, you can feel it ripe and burning inside of your friend right now. But currently he sits just arced in holy power. You know, you see the shadowy magic and the pinks of his bardic energy with the dark purple of his warlock energy just kind of burning off of his body. And he stands there and you see the flames intensify at his presence. You hear death speak. Divot, I gave you my powers, and you gave them to this. You see the fires burn. Divot, you know, you've seen death mad, but you haven't quite seen this. You see the burning souls all around you, kind of writhing in agony at the presence of these red, angry flames. You know, death still not sitting in the throne, but now present in his plane once more. He calls down to you. Is this how you repay my gift? to give it away, to hand it to the unworthy. And Rial, you feel those heavy purple eyes and those dark sockets. They settle on you, and you feel an immense hatred. Divot, what do you do?
I take a big drag. I say, giving away your gift is not how I repay you. It's how I achieve the goals that you set forward for me. Exodius was insanely powerful. I had to kill Rial. I know that. But there was no way to beat that dragon without his help. This was the only way to make it happen.
It's a good argument, Divot. Let's go with a persuasion check on this one. Okay, so you're trying to talk him down. That's a good argument. So the DC is going to be pretty low. So let's say 15 on this one. But yes, let's put your charismatic powers to the test and see if you can talk down the burning red mask of death. Nice. Dirty 20. All right, so yeah, Divot, you kind of cast these words back into his skeletal face. You're not lying. That's why it wasn't a deception check. Divot, your defense for your actions was that you had witnessed the outcome of these events, and were it not for your ability to draw upon that dark acorn, this fight could have gone the other way. So you speak to, what your option was in this situation. You see Death considers.
I'm telling the truth. As good as I am at lying, it never seems to work with you.
Do you have any idea what kind of power I have bestowed on you, Divot? I look to you to bring the new wave, the new essence, and give me a break at long last. You have picked at my power and made use of what you liked, but I am in control here. Lightning Dodger, best remember where your power comes from. You see the mask kind of presses forward, Divot, and you feel that kind of four-dimensional connection that you felt before, as if death is humming in many dimensions all at the same time, but currently he fixes himself solely on you. You are now drunk with power. You see smells through, his lack of a nose. You just feel this wind kind of draw your essence into this big skull frame, and you are fat with it. You have broken my command, Divot. I have given you this life for our purpose, and you have shared it with another. Rial, you feel that skeleton hand reach into your chest, and it grabs the shell of power that Divot had planted within you. You feel it pull it away from you. So, Rial, you're a revenant now, so you're not quite dead, you're not quite alive. Your life essence is tied to the same as Divot's, and you see that life essence pulled away from your chest. You're like hovering in this dark expanse. Divot, do you believe so truly in your tale that you would share this new power, instill this ally, this fake representation of life, this mar on the timeline? Would you fill him with your power instead of my own?
I look at Rial and I look at Death and I say, you underestimate this man. For all the evil that Sisyphus is, this was all the good. Think about how fucking evil Sisyphus is and how powerful he is. And this is the opposite side of that coin, Death. Why not have him as an ally?
You see the face of Death, the magic, the anger, the burning fires. They start to subside. The fires that cook around the base of the feet of all these spirits dwindle down. And now, with the absence of this fiery anger, Divot, you sense concern on his face. You see he turns back and he looks at Rial. Who are you? Who stands before me? And what have you to say to earn your life?
Your Eminence, I am Real. Sorry, I thought I maybe talked like that now, but I am Real Othervon. I'm a once living fragment, a piece of Synthesis himself, the goodness removed. And while I mean no disrespect, given that's the first time that I've been in your domain, things seem to be chaotic. I don't have much longer on the material plane. I can feel it. But if you need help, I'm here to give it. I'm a being of goodness. And, you know, death has goodness to it. Maybe that's something you've forgotten, or I'm sure you've been occupied, but if there's something I can do to help, maybe you can take a break for a little bit. I'm not sure if I can fill those shoes of yours, but I'll give it a shot.
He takes in your words, Real. You are Synthesis. Real Othervon died on the mortal plane over 2,000 years ago. I know, because it was I who ushered his spirit to the other side. It was Synthesis's dark magics that pulled that soul back across the expanse and filled himself with life stolen from my domain. You feel the fires kind of crackling up again as if he's been holding this anger in for a long time. He sees what Synthesis has done as an affront to his power.
I'm here to help you take it back. I didn't choose to be here, nor did you, I'm sure, but here we are. Let's work together.
Real Othervon. Divot. Synthesis. I grow tired of the affairs of man. Look at these meandering spirits. They wander with no purpose, no cause, drug around by the intentions of gods who could care less for them. Your sister, Divot, and her goddess, the Green Lady, attempted to take my throne. Offered in the golden light of Shantia. I ask you this. What is worth man? What value bring you to the world, and why should I stand with you against Synthesis?
What's our main goal? Once I realized what I was, even in life, all I wanted to do was destroy Synthesis. Granted, it's myself, but I've had this burning in my soul. That's all I've ever wanted to do. And in life, I just happen to be blessed with amazing, wonderful friends.
You see, there's a sadness in his eyes when you say that. If you recall, Divot, you noticed a sense of longing in him when last you spoke. And this sentence of Real's has set upon that drift in his mind. And you see him look at you, Divot, almost longingly. as if, he wishes he had what you have, which, the concept of that is just baffling. This immortal power source that grants you such tremendous strength, seemingly jealous of the connection that you have.
I reach out and put my bony hand on his bony shoulder, and in that moment realize, seeing my hand on his shoulder, that we're way more alike than we are different at this point.
Can I also put a less bony hand on his other shoulder?
Again, it's when he gets into these flights, this kind of thoughts of longing, it feels as if he travels far away. You see the purple lights in his eyes just diminish. They weaken a little bit as you look, and he goes to a far off place, considering what an immortal being would consider as their happy place, so to speak. And this gesture of compassion on his shoulders waves mightily as you both stand here, having turned his anger in this moment, it seemingly has dripped away to a sadness. You see the eyes lock upon you, Divot. Well then, what would you say we do? And we shift back over to the choral throne room. Brunor, sorry, let me catch up on Roll20. Brunor, you're standing now in the purified throne room once more. No longer the black crackling energy of the shadow, permeating all around you. Just the glowing benevolence of the tuna hawk, the Clamorgera statues that spill like a holy light into the chamber right now. Thoricus, let me get Divot out of there. Thoricus, Brunor, you guys are standing over, by the corpse of the now fallen Exonius. You just witnessed as Divot, swallowed this acorn and started burning with this tremendous power. As it burns within him, you see him just kind of dematerialize, and there's just this like hollow silence in the room. This epic combat has just been taking place. The war of the shadows outside the window for the Battle of Elmyyra, the laughter of Dr. Gas, the dragging chains of Captain Crefus, the thrashing cries of the Shadow Dragon. The water around you that once felt choked with smoke, finally as you're breathing, through the magics that allow you to breathe underwater, except for you, Brunor, you just breathe through your gills. But the water feels clean and pure, no longer the smoke-choked water that when you first encountered when you arrived, as if the presence of Exonius himself called upon such tremendous welling of shadow to this kingdom. For a brief moment, Brunor, as your feet stand on the skull of this dragon, you've just twisted the sword that sent his body, back to the ground. You stand nearest the window and you can't help but look out. And you see, the sprawling battlefield of shadow as the shadows on the side of Exonius and the shadows at the call of the burning gauntlet on your wrist. Suddenly, this chaos of shadows stops. And you watch as the haunted spirits of all the shadows that remain in the people fill the streets of Elmyyra, no longer clashing, but seemingly just floating, devoid of purpose. Their master is now gone, the call for battle calming away. Thoricus, the blood of the Shadow Dragon dripping off the True Strike blade, floating around in the water. And you guys hear that. Blood song! The blood song! As these mushrooms start to consume the Shadow Dragon under your feet, Brunor. Suddenly you see a patch of this black scale start bulbing out like a red bulbous, pus sac. And when it breaks, these little red tendrils come out and it starts devouring the corpse of Exonius, now quiet. Brunor, you stand on your feet, the mushrooms start growing. What do?
I just swim like 2 feet up.
You're like, whoa.
I was like, oh my.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can swim. Okay, cool. So I just kind of let it start falling apart below me. Oh, this is a lot because this is a big deal. So I'm looking out. Is there no more fighting at all happening?
All right, so good question, Brunor. You turn around, if you recall, Dr. Gas was frozen by Divot. Captain Crefus was not killing Thoricus because of a lie Divot told him. Divot's gone. So as he disappears and you see the magic that captivates Dr. Gas washing away, you see he's got his hands up and he kind of looks at them. His skeleton body, black trench coat that hangs off. He's still always perpetually smoking his waterproof cigar. His hat with small skulls that ring the bill. Even though he's a skeleton, he seems to have eyebrows, and they kind of lift up. And you see him, he's kind of watched this happen. The Master of Shadow devoured in front of him. And you see his skeleton hands. They raise up like this. As he looks at you, Brunor, pretty terrified. Remember, he got jacked up by that breath weapon too, so he's in bad shape. So yes, you see he raises his skeleton hands and he's like, the true king of Elmyyra. And he goes to bow.
Cool. I gotta swim down to him, and with my gauntlet, I pick him up by his throat and just hold him real quick. And I just want to ask, what was the true goal here, Dr. Gas?
You see he's hanging. You hear as you kind of have Dr. Gast held up, your fingers wrap around his just skeleton neck. It's very thin and small. Your hand fully wraps around it as you lift him up. It's like he makes choking sounds, but he doesn't have an esophagus. He's like, as you lift him up. And you hear the chains of Crefus start dragging a little bit. Thoricus, quick to turn around and, prepare yourself. And you see Crefus starts moving, and then Gast holds his hand up. Wait, Crefus. I believe I am still the one in charge, You see Crefus kind of looks up. He looks at you, Thoricus. You can see the hatred in his eyes. But then you see him look down at the chains, the broken chains now wrapped around his wrists. Actually, now that you're close to him, you can see they're wrapped so tight that they're actually like there's a little bit of blood coming out. Like he just full on just tied them to his body and wanted to be so connected with them again that he pulls at the chain. And so he's standing there just considering. It seems that in this moment, he does kind of move himself to about the center point in the room. But you see that he's listening to Dr. Gast. And Dr. Gast kind of considers your question, Brunor. What was the plan? I should ask you, whose plan? There are many plans at play here.
All right, listen, you're annoying. I'm mad at you. You betrayed me. You thought you were going to be cool friends. And that could still happen, Anything could happen in between now and when I decide to crush your bones. So, what did my sister tell you to do? What is your goal here?
I see you see beyond the hidden truths, Brunor. No fool. And you see he kind of takes his hands to get you off of his neck. So he's kind of I can tell you, worry not, I am not a fighter. And he tries to pry your hand off his neck. Do you want to let him or no?
I set him down, but I keep my hand on there.
Okay. Yeah, he's like,
here you go. Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's like, your sister, she told me to make sure that you get on the boat, that we bring you to the Kraken, and that we return you to your home. Exonius told us that you are to stand trial for your wrongdoings to the kingdom, to give him power over the shadow again. You see, even though your hand's around his throat, he's like, and he takes a draw off his cigar. It seems their intentions were not on the same level. But it looks like you have figured that out. He draws off the cigar. I tell you, Brunor, your sister wished to see you both kill each other. Or perhaps, and you see his head turns and his eyebrows kind of lift up, his skeleton fingers point over. Or perhaps that was his goal. And you turn and look, and you see, again, once reminded now, the Kraken kind of comes into vision. Here, I'm just going to bring him into the throne room for now, just so you can see. But you see the electric blue skin of the strangely transformed Kraken, 120 feet long, the biggest creature you've ever seen, bigger than some small villages, his many tentacles and thrashing tendrils as he just moves through the water. Now, you've seen him turn completely invisible before, and so, that's what's hidden his tremendous frame from being discovered in the water, but currently he glows with this electric blue magic, one that stimulates the mind and reminds you of some of the Fey magics that you've seen to this point. You see where he's going, Brunor. It's like the Louvre of the city of Elmyyra. It's the great museum, the treasury of your kingdom. You can only assume that your city hasn't been plundered because at this point it's been occupied. Like there's been an army here, there's been a general, and so like the grave robbers and adventurers along the way that maybe would have raided this treasury perhaps have not been stopped. You haven't seen it yet, but you look around on the now pristine roadways and streets of Elmyyra, and you see the Kraken headed for this treasury. Perhaps that was his course.
Is there anything that I would know that would be in there that's like important?
All right. Give me a history check, Bruno.
No!
Damn it. Fort shit.
So
There it
you
is.
would know
Fort
some
shit.
things depending on how high this is. Will depend on how well we and I know personally the history check, the BBEG.
Damn it.
All right, at 12. So Bruno, you start kind of running through your mind like, crap, like what could he be going for? There's a few things that come to mind that you think about. There was a great like statue army that's said to be buried underneath this temple. Kind of like the clay statues in our world. It's this massive stone army of tritons. So an aquatic race that's kind of like died off, and you don't really know many tritons. But it's like this entire army of triton stone statues that lays buried underneath this treasury. Long has it been said that there is a way to bring this army to life, but you and your people obviously never knew it, or you would have used it. You start thinking about that, as well as some, you're sure like, man, thinking like, what could it possibly be? Again, things are kind of happening around you, so you're just filing through what you can recall quickly. And the other thing you remember is that it's like, there's this thing called the World's Tier. And so there's a myth in the people of Elmyyra that when the world was made, when the great primordials finally rested and became the earth, the rock, the waters of the world, and the primordials gave their life essence to create a world for other life to grow on, that the world, when it saw the way men lived upon it, it wept a single tear. Now that tear is said to be held in the treasury of Elmyyra. What that tier does, again, with a 12, unfortunately, you're not like super keen on like the full myth, but you do know, you're like, okay, there's a massive stone army down there. But the point basically being, there's quite a few things down there that might be interesting to this creature. Again, he is, as you know, the Kraken is a primordial. And so it's like, there's something in that link that maybe draws directly to your mind. But again, not the most trained with history. You can't pinpoint it. To be fair, though, you are in the royal castle. If you wanted to go find out what is in there, that would be in the castle. If you went back to that library, or if you wanted to ascertain what's in there, you could do that. It would just take some time.
Right. Time that I would probably want to take maybe getting over there. Right? Like, probably just go check that out. Cool. I let go of Dr. Gast's throat. I'm very tired. There's a lot of things that have happened. So I'm gonna take a quick sit on the throne because my legs are tired, but it's very like just letting go and just kind of taking a moment. You can tell Bruno is just like processing everything that's happening and trying to put two and two together. And she just kind of does this very lazy kind of walk and like sits on the throne and just like puts her head in her hands for a second.
So
You're doing
Brunor,
the
it was
Resident Evil
legacy.
4. Like the Leon Kennedy, just like get on the throne.
I'm so very tired.
So Brunor, it's funny in this description, you by saying that you walk, you actually managed to, you remember there is like There is an order in the reason there are even stairs in this underwater kingdom. It was a sign of respect to the throne that you would walk up the steps, not swim. And so as this heaviness weighs on you, you find yourself about halfway up the stairs when you have that realization. You know, that it's like you've been so far removed from this kingdom for so long, but this kingdom is such a huge part of you. And, you know, now returned, the reality was you came back to this kingdom to kill Exonius, to make revenge for what happened to your kingdom. But you're looking at the shadow-filled streets of the kingdom, and you realize that something may have been lost that can't be revenged. And you the heaviness of that thought weighs in your boots as you climb the carpeted steps that lead to the mithril throne. And for a moment, as you go to sit in the throne itself, you can't help but see the outline of your grandfather sitting in the throne, of your grandmother as she ran the political side, of your father preparing for battles, of your mother as she prepared the next batch of emissaries to be sent out to the other cities to grow your territories. You know the depths of the things your family has had to do to maintain its grip on the power that it has. And that split between you and your family is what led you ultimately to go away when everything happened. You know, you could have rushed back into the kingdom, tried to save as many as you could, but for some reason, perhaps it felt a little bit like a necessary response to some pretty intense actions of your family. But at this point, Brunor, it is you who stands before the mithril throne, not your father, not your grandfather, not the legacy of the sea serpent people, not the ship that you rode here on, the Maiden's Bort, the ancient wood, the battles of this long once Eladrin kingdom, now the aquatic sea elves. You know, your people journeyed from the Feywild. That's in your myth. You came from the Feywild and seated in the oceans. And so here you stand, the throne of mithril humming in front of you, and you just kind of sit down on it, put your head in your hands. You know, Thoricus, you're on looking. You hear the corpse of the shadow dragon behind you being consumed. You see Dr. Gast and Crethus almost awestruck, kind of witnessing this kind of epic moment where the king, the bloodline of the kingdom, goes to return to their throne. Thoricus, what do you do?
Well, I just need to ask. Shadow dragon penis is not going to be a thing, is it? Let's just throw that out there.
Of course, Thoricus, I have thought long and hard.
I can't believe I was worried he was going to ask.
Like, do it, Thoricus. Thoricus, you look back, you know, as if you're looking upon your child being dragged into quicksand, and you watch as your time is running out. You know, the dragon is being consumed from the outside in, and at the center point of this dragon is a hefty dong, bro. I mean, comparatively size-wise, you know, it's you're going up a couple letter grades, if you know what I mean. Yeah. You see it seemingly untouched, Thoricus. No pockets of red blisters, no bursting pustules of poisonous mushrooms that are starting to consume the frame. But you see as the red is going toward it quickly. Thoricus, what do you do?
Well, I would like to use my battle alacrity to move as quickly as possible to get right up to that dung while keeping the quick strike blade out and just putting it on frappe and just come on over and just get a good old dung slicing going on.
Thoricus Onyxheart. God, I love you. All right. Well, hilariously, calling upon the magic alacrity of the blade, you have this wind portal bursts behind your back, and again you're like shot forward. You know, you see as your hand like is reaching out, spinning the quick strike blade. You start headed. The red tendrils are all growing, grasping at it. You know, you burst, and thanks to the magical nature of both the quick strike blade and the magical battle alacrity granted by the sword, you see as it just cuts right through the hefty base. And you see the dismembered dong of the shadow dragon Exonius just kind of hauling in the water. as you watch the corpse and the hole, you know, where you just severed this penis on, this dragon's penis, for those who aren't following along at home, where you've severed the peen, you see a couple red tendrils. They shoot out and they try to grab it before it floats away, Thoricus. You're too fast, buddy. You know, you're big, you're big for a dwarf, but small for a man. Hands kind of, you know, you need both hands almost to get a. You gotta put the sword away just to really get a good, like, you know, this is a 40-foot dragon's dong.
Right.
Yeah. So we're talking. I mean, there's weight. There's the thickness to it that has to be accounted for, and you pull it away from the frame of Exonius. Now, I do apologize because, unfortunately, I know that I mentioned how many times how thick his dragon skin was during the battle, and I know that, you know, any armorer in the room, my man Thoricus, you watch as, unfortunately, the blood mushrooms devour the rest of his corpse. And you just watch as the black scales turns into this mush of red. And as the parasites, you know, you kind of like step away a little bit, because they start, once they've consumed all the living matter that is left on the husk of this dragon's frame, you know, almost just like the great skeleton bones even starting to be consumed. You see they start reaching their tendrils out, you know, over at you, Thoricus, and over at Dr. Gast and Crefus, and all you guys just kind of like back up a little bit. But Thoricus, you managed to salvage the dragon peen of the shadow dragon Exonius. Congratulations.
They call that the supreme dragon peen.
That was, yeah, as far as dragon peens go, definitely, you know, you remember in your many hours of study, many hours, you know, long nights by candlelight, just constantly studying this one specific part of the dragon's anatomy again and again and again. People would question you, be like, will you eat, will you drink? You'd throw the goblet at the campsite, get out of here, I'm still learning. You know, you would focusedly dedicate your education on this phallus of the Dragonus. And here you have one, a big meaty one. If you shoot it on a catapult this time, I'm not gonna believe you, so just know that trick won't work again.
I was just gonna put it in the Krampus sack for now.
I want to draw that.
Along with all of the dead soldiers' mithril armor that they were wearing while they were helping us out. Just want to point that out. I'm not gonna steal the throne, but I am gonna get all that other mithril armor together.
Okay, this is pretty funny, Bruno. We kind of jump back into your perspective. You know, you're like, oh my gosh, you know, you feel the heaviness of all these decisions. You can't run anymore. You know, it's like there's, you know, just bouncing out of here. It's like there's people need you. There's something that has need of you in this moment. And so, and you're like sitting there, you can't believe the heaviness of the situation. And then you hear this like, zzz, and you look up and you see Thoricus just like stuffing this massive dragon's dong into an endless pit. Just really picture that in your mind, because it's fun. You know, he's just stuffing it into a hole, and then it disappears into the Krampus's sack that he travels. And you kind of see it, and then you see Thoricus like not reading the room very well, just kind of like walks over and he just starts picking up like breastplates from the ground. Remember, there's like 5 of those guys, Thoricus. You have 5 mithril breastplates. I'll give you that in this moment. You go around and just pick them up.
Oh yeah. Well, can I like look over at Dr. Gas and be like, hey, fucking do something, put some music, you know what, throw a heel down, make it better in here. God, I'm just trying to clean up. Can you help? If we're gonna let you be alive, can you just help?
He's like, sure. We are cool, right? We are good. He's like worried you're gonna kill him.
Well, we put down a shadow dragon, so if we're not cool, I guess it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Can you just throw a heel down, bud? Like, we're cool right now. Do you want to see how far that goes, or just...
All right, Thoricus, he's out of his, you know, he like Tina, is out of his big money heal, but he will, I like that idea. He's going to give you a cure wounds. He's going to upcast. He's going to give you, let me do this. And cast. Did it go through? There we go. All right, so you get 11 health back, Thoricus. You see, he heals you, and then no fool, he also heals himself. So,
okay, he was pretty close.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, no. You get 16, he gets 11. I'm sorry. You were the first to cast. So you get 16 back. You see he calls upon, what remaining power he has left. And he, it's different than Tina's healing light. His is this dark fire, but you see it's still, the hit points are still just as good. And a show of good faith twixt you and he says, yes, to show you I am not your enemy, but perhaps a business partner? And he touches you, and gives you the little healing. He has to touch you. It's a touch spell. So awkwardly, he just kind of gives you a little touch.
All right.
I just have to put in beautiful paint by numbers scenery here because best friend, you're stuffing shit in the sack. My corpse is still there. So it's okay.
Oh, your old corpse, right.
Yeah, old knee.
Yeah, you see the Albuquerque Feldman, Vaporeal form on the ground. The actual living, the corpse of the person you've known is lying there. He's transformed with magic. You see the magic is starting to wear off. Obviously the spell effect would end, but it was hilarious to picture the fish version of Real just dead on the ground. But the illusive magic's starting to peel away. It is still unsettling. You don't know where Real is. You don't know where Divid is, and the corpse of Real is sitting there in front of you as you're stuffing valuables into a bag, Thoricus. You're your eyes kind of fall on his corpse as the last of the illusionary magic washes away, and you see the silver hair, the pale skin of Real just laying on the ground where you had seen Divot bring his corpse back.
Damn.
That's another reason why Bruno's just sitting there for a moment, because there's a dead body of her friend. Real then came back and then is gone again. Divot's gone. The whole her whole reason for making friends died. just and is now mush. So there's nothing left of that thing that she did other than this hand thing. And then
also a gigantic dong that I stuffed into a bag.
A big old dong in a bag now.
There's something to remember it by.
So as I can hear Creepus kind of making his way closer, I just want to make eye contact with Brian to be bro, what the fuck, bro?
You see a heaviness deep set in Brian's eyes as well, Brunor. As if he too is encountering around this moment being back here. You and he would often talk about this at campfires by the river. As you ushered goods back and forth between the Shattered Isles, Sumner Milton. The story of where we found you when we first met, Brunor, and. You can see him, he still has Tina kind of protectively wrapped in his wings behind him. And you see he kind of turns and looks at you. He offers her down and she sits on the blue tile floor. And you see Brian also goes about the method that you did. He at first swims, his giant, massive Dracodile tail, courses him through the water. He still has the eye patch on. He's still bad boy Brian right now, puffing on a Camel cigarette. And you see him stop swimming and he settles on the floor. And you watch his great, massive frame as he takes the steps by foot, showing homage to the royal customs of Elmyyra, similarly to the way you did almost subconsciously. And so you see him come up and he sets himself at the top of the stairs in front of you, and you see he kneels. And you see his wings kind of flap back. Brandon punches a chair next to him. It hurts a lot. And you see that he pushes that chair away so he doesn't do that again. But you see his wings kind of kick back, and a rush of water blows back so strong that even Creepus himself, as he stands at the base of the steps, is slid back by the force of the water. And you see Creepus kind of looks up and he looks at you, sees you sitting on the throne. And as if even he, the dread pirate Captain Creepus, sees something that maybe you do not, Brunor. You see Creepus takes a knee as well.
What is a king of a kingdom of shadows anyway? There's nobody left. What is this title? You don't have to kneel. None of you have to kneel.
Just enjoy the moment, man.
Listen, I would if there was a kingdom left.
Brunor!
You got a throne.
You see Dr. Gast. But Brunor, come look at this. And you see he's like still like super nervous that Thoricus is literally just triggered, like gun shy. You see him backing up, hands up. You know, he's showing no hostility. But he walks over to the window here. You know, and he calls at you from the throne. He says, Bruno, I look at your people. I know you do not understand the life, the death, the spirit that lives within. But I do. Your people are lost to the realm of men. You see he holds his hand out. But their spirits still sit haunted. They reach to you, Bruno. Bruno, you look down and you see, as you know, you're kind of like just looking out the window at the filled streets with these wispy shadows. They all kind of start turning and looking up at the royal throne room. And it's like you can't, you know, even though you can't see in 360 degrees around you, you feel as if what is left, this shadow force of army that bears allegiance to this burning gauntlet on your hand, you can feel as if they all turn to you. They look for your guidance, Bruno. Perhaps you could not save them then, but you could offer them salvation. What is a king, Bruno? But a leader. One who stands for their people. Will you stand for them? Now. Or will you be nothing, as you claim to be? And then we shift back over, Brunor, as you ruminate on that. We jump back over to the realm of death. Let me bring you guys there. You know, Rial, Divot, you stand with your hands on the shoulders of death. You know, the looming question sits before you, like how shall we proceed? You know, you're all kind of pondering this. There's a long, heavy darkness. The fires that burn at the crackling souls of the wandering lost are no longer there. You have managed to soothe this fiery anger of death, and now he's in a bit of a sense of contemplation. Divot, you see for a moment, he kind of relaxes into the touch of both you and Rial. Again, this longing for connection that he seems to be expressing again and again. You see him kind of bask in that moment. And then he pulls himself away. And you see the rest of his form materializes. You know, the red mask gives way to the shrouded cloak and the long skeletal frame. You know, again, it's looming 15 feet in front of you. As, you know, you see the cloak materialize and he turns around. You have wronged me, Divot. But you did it for the right reason. And for that, I spare you. But in order for this man, this thing, to live, you must share your power with him, not mine. And you see that the source of power that he pulled from Rial, he doesn't seem content to give back. And so Divot, he's like, if you want to take Rial back with you, if you want to use this guy, if you want to continue the thing that you did, you're going to have to fill him with your own power and not Death's. Now, he'll still be a revenant, but this energy thing, the thing that allows him to be alive, is missing currently from him. So that's what he presents you with, Divot. What do you do?
Okay. All right, I'm going to try something.
Awesome.
This room is filled with wayward souls, all kinds of strange types, right?
Oh, yeah.
And right now, Death ain't doing them right. And it might not be his fault, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to look around and appeal to all these spirits to fill me with their energy so that I can share it with Rial. And then maybe we can bring this thing full circle and bring some order to this area eventually.
All right, Divot, I have kind of a big question for you, and it's something you may not have considered. Where are you sending these spirits? So if you consume that now, you could consume their energy and feed Rial with it, if that's what you want to do in this moment. Or you can kind of fulfill the job of Death that he's not doing and send them somewhere. But again, you've never really done this before. So it's, you feel that power cosmic as you connect to the stone throne of death. But yes, as this kind of power cosmic instills you with the sense of purpose and you look upon the wandering souls of the lost, what do you do?
Have I heard the legends about that like terracotta style warrior area in this temple building?
We're gonna have to roll for it, bud. Yes, you have to roll for that. So again, you are a bard, a traveler. You tell stories. Like this is myths and stuff are right up your alley. So yeah, go ahead and give me a. You can choose if you want to do history or religion. Either one is fine with me. But that'll let you know.
All right. I'll go. I'm gonna try to break the streak on history.
All right. I like it. It's a brave man that tackles a history check. All right, at 14. So you know what? I'm just gonna roll it on my end. 14 is pretty good. Again, David, like I said, we've talked about your kind of history. Oh, sorry, this thing's screwing me over. Your history with stories and myth, and let's see, just flat it out. Dope. Okay. Yes, Divot. You, in what you know of Elmyyra, very little, but from spending time in the inns on the beachside properties, and the bars that hug the ocean, the kingdom of Elmyyra is said to be the center of all aquatic civilization. It's like there are aquatic races that don't ascribe to society, but the ones that do have tended to find their center and their homage, paid respects to the kingdom of Elmyyra. And within Elmyyra, I would say you are as aware as Brunor is of these kind of precursory things, like things that people do know about that are in there. Again, history not your guys' strongest suit. So yes, you are aware of the Terracotta Army. You are also aware of the world tier, although whether or not you believe that or not is, another thing entirely.
Okay. Well, basically, I'm like, I don't really know that much about spirits, but I think they're here because they haven't done something they're supposed to do. So maybe if I give them some kind of physical form, they can achieve that goal and then they can move on. So I'm just like, maybe I can channel them into whatever the closest ready vessel is, knowing that I kind of have heard the rumor that place exists.
All right, Divot. I'm going to do it because of the means by which I put it your way. In order to pull this off, you're going to have to give up that level that we gave you. Is that something you're willing to do? Now, you don't have to. This is not the DM being like, you have to. I'm prepared to give you that level. For something this epic, though, that kind of power, that's what it's going to take.
Oh, man.
Now, you can try. You can leave it more to dice. You can, we can work through a little more traditional stuff. But this is in the vein of an epic opportunity. This is something, I love it. I love the concept. Not using that will set it up in a fail success scenario. It'll come down to the dice of it.
All right. Yeah, no, I want to go ahead and do it. I'll do it.
All right, Divot. This is sick. I like this a lot. So, Brunor, Thoricus, you guys kind of, you hear a loud thunder crack through the waters. And you look up out the window, and floating above the city, you see the red mask of death appear. And you can see two figures standing in its light. Obviously Rial and Divot. It's the answer of Rial's location has been answered. And they float kind of cosmically over the city in this moment. You see Divot start channeling energy. The eyes of even Death himself start to glow wide as they watch what you're attempting to do right now, Divot. You kind of reach your hands out, and the sea of souls sits in front of you. I'm going to let you paint this with your paintbrush, brother. But yes, you're able to do this. What do you do?
Okay. Shit. So I absorb as many of those spirits as I can. Death and Real and I cruise, we look super fucking cool. Like Knight Rider coming across the you know what I mean? And when we get there, I guess can it, like, that crack that happened, can we like see where the things are now?
Yes, as you kind of look down from the cosmic expanse, this crackling force of energy that shows as you start sucking these like shadows into your person, Divot. Each one that comes into you, you look down and you see the crack. At first you can see it only in your eyes, and then almost through the surge of power, you see a crack in front of you. You watch as some of this channeled energy starts pulling out of you and injecting Real. Real, you feel as this like surge of magic energy, the pure, like a hit of the good stuff, purely coming from Divot and injecting you with life essence once more. You feel as he consumes these spirits, so too as your spirit returns to strength and power. You're sitting there, you watch death expand, and Real, all of you kind of look through past the divide through the expanse, and you watch the ground just kind of crack and split apart. Divot, you from your vantage point can look down and you see it, the great stone army. From the numbers that you can see, probably 10,000 statues in number, just completely underneath the foundations of this building. Now, the building itself hasn't been destroyed or anything, but just like right around the outside, the ground has opened up and you can see what was buried beneath. You see 10,000 statues.
Holy shit. All right, I look at Real and I'm like, I know you don't know how to do this, but trust me. And I hold his hand and I cast Eldritch Blast down into the pit and try to use our power as a conductor to transfer the energy of these souls into these warriors.
And if I can get some good like soul energy, because I'm feeling like these souls being put into me, like it's what's giving me life. But as they're passing, like everyone's story, like if I can comfort them in any way as they're being absorbed, it's a weird experience. But
I look over at Real and I'm like, I hum our theme song to avoid paying too much attention to that.
Too many stories. Yeah, Real, you almost let a sense of compassion fill the void in your mind that the souls travel through. And rather than a distinct answer to each one of them, you just share a compassion, something that is part of you at your very core, Real, which proves that at one time, Real Othervon was a compassionate soul. Even though you're all the goodness removed, it is your compassion that time and time again has elevated your actions to that of a hero. And in this moment, you offer this passing to the souls that borrow their time in your mind, and you just kind of fill yourself with a cloud of compassion. Brunor, you see this connection of hands of Real and Divot. You see him shooting this beam down into the crack near the base of the treasury. You see the giant kraken outside, kind of floating above it, looking as if it's trying to figure out which way to go in. As you see this beam shoot down, what do you do in this moment?
It's all coming back to me, like the idea of that army that I was kind of trying to remember and whereabouts it would be in the lore. And that army, those are the original Chaboys. Like that was the original from days long past. Like those were the old, like very first Chaboys that I would hear about in books. Those are the only things I really cared about, was learning about like all of Tuna Hawk's stuff. Like his statue is there, but those were like his dudes, like the Chaboys, right? So I like look down there and I see like the blast going into there, and I feel like the eyes of all the shadows on me. And if we could figure out how to like this city, it's full of so much, like there's so much like old politics and just garbage and stuff. And if I could, like, they're not water creatures anymore, I want to show them the land and like set them free, I guess. Be like, the thing that would piss off my sister the most is if I just completely remove any sort of kingdom anyway. So like, I'm like, cool, then we're not playing your game anymore. Like, there's no more game. Game is done. you're gonna have to care about, I hope you care about something bigger because this shit doesn't even exist anymore. Like, there's no one in the kingdom. So I wanna like, if I could free these shadows by either taking some of them with me and impugning them in like my gauntlet, and then if there's some that I can allow to also become these rock people that we can take with us. I just am like freeing these people. I failed you, so now like I'm here to guide you to better and more and freedom and autonomy, maybe.
I was trying to think, like, is it like the Heartless and like the Nobodies, like in the two different realms, and like you're trying to put them both into this new shell and like new people? Like new whole people?
That's apt. That's an apt
Like
description.
Is that kind of, I'm just trying to see, like, is that the vibe that you guys are saying? Like
Like a mind and a spirit coming together in a body.
Mm-hmm.
kind of, is that, I know that was an obscure reference, but I'm really high, so I had to wrap my mind around something I knew.
I get it. But that would be really fun. It'd be hella dope if it was.
Oh yeah.
It'd be really cool.
That's
if
so
it was.
dope.
All right, guys.
Let's do that. Can we do that?
And then we hug him. And then we just
You
hug him. We love him
guys.
so much.
All right. This is what you see. Divot Rial, from the dimension of death itself, you watch as the skeletal form of death considers his throne one last time. You know, it seems he doesn't wish to sit in it right now, but you see him considering the steps between him and there, and he kind of removes himself from this as you guys draw upon his power. Clearly, he's allowing you to do this, and so, you know, he's not shutting you down, Divot, so you assume that perhaps he's content to go with this course of action. The great soul beam that gathers between you and Rial shoots down and starts filling the crack in the ground near where all these statues are. You see the energy kind of pouring in. And Brunor, as you sit on the throne, kind of thinking about a redemption, about these spirits, the gauntlet that's frozen to your arm, that burns away the skin and shows the bone near the base, starts burning with energy. And that bright blue royal energy starts gleaming out of it again. And you look over and you consider the army and your people, and like shooting a beacon in the dark to guide them, you blast from the gauntlet into this crack in the ground as well. And you guys kind of like Captain Planet, this energy beam, one from the spiritual tower, one from the realm of death. You're all just like, you see Tina, standing beside you, holds out the benevolence, the ring of benevolence, and that pure light of Shantia's bounty shoots out of her ring as well. Thoricus, you're like standing there and you're like, crap, I don't have any like sky beam stuff. So you just kind of like put your hand on the shoulders of the two powerful, women there. Like you support them, you Care Bear stare, and even you get like a little spaghetti string of energy that's like,
I've got the Raka.
and floats into the crack in the ground.
I've got the Raka. I could go Super Saiyan.
Yeah, there you
Fucking-
go. Boom, you
Yeah.
bust out the Raka, the Firebird itself. It's like earth, fire, wind, water, heart. And these beams all inject into the cracked earth. You see this big, massive convergence of energy. Even the Kraken itself, withdraws back. You see him pull away. As everybody is just kind of looking. Brunor, you see the shadows start flowing like somebody popped the plug of, at the base of their boat, and they all start sucking directly toward the crack in the ground. It seemed your idea has worked, and it's drawing these spirits toward the great stone armies. Divot, you look around you, and you've probably, like I said, you've consumed nearly 10,000 souls. But again, this just highlights how many are around you. There is still a sea of wandering spirits all around. Rial, inside your chest, you feel the burning power of life once more renewed to you, granted you by Divot, basically kind of like how he gave you 3 months of his life. He basically took that level out and put it in your chest, like you're Iron Man, and that's your little arc reactor is Divot's level that he gave you. But you're all kind of sitting there as the wisping shadows withdraw into the hole in the earth, and there's a great quiet. The waters around you hang. No longer choke-filled, but pure and clean. This moment, as you all kind of stare toward the earth, wondering what's going to happen, even the primordial beast, the Kraken itself, seems suspended, eager to know what occurs. and suddenly you hear a cry from within. Shaw! As 10,000 soldiers echo back in reply from the stone mouths of the bodies of the sunken army of Elmyyra. As both the souls of the shadow people of Elmyyra, the armies of Exonius, and the lost souls in the plane of death are all converged within these 10,000 spirits. And that's where we're going to pick it up after intermission, guys. Ooh, holy crap. Cha.
Job, please.
Oh, man. All right, guys, we will be right back. We do us a 10-minute intermission here. It serves two purposes. One, we all have to pee all the time. We're drinking a lot of water. Make sure you're hydrating at home. Big Water, we haven't forgot about you. I'm in your DMs. I'm in your emails. Remember, if you have any connections with Big Water, let them know about Weed&d. We think we are a perfect fit for Big Water. So make sure you hydrate. My glass runneth nearly empty. Drain your bladders. But most importantly, my favorite part about our intermission is all this incredible artwork that has been submitted for this show. Please check it out. So many incredible submissions from like over a dozen artists of just these incredible visuals. Massive shout outs to Sean Gilchrist, Jake Taylor, Vlad Kolnick. A lot of the stuff that you'll see, the time lapses and everything come from that crew. And Vlad's done the bulk of the big, when you think of like some of these amazing images that you've seen in the show, a lot of our add-ins and stuff, those images come from that guy. So huge shout out to all you incredible artists. Check this out. Listen to this amazing music by Sandy Stein. Watch this incredible art by all these incredibly gifted artists, and then come back in 10 minutes for us to figure out what the hell we're doing with this giant stone army.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck Christopher Columbus.
And fuck Christopher Columbus. Bitch ass. Welcome back, buds, to WeeDnD, the pod positive live tabletop role playing experience. I just threw my lighter. I'm gonna get it. Just and I'm back. So yeah, guys, we have holy crap. The epicness just never ceases. We've had us quite a first half of this as far as super epic cosmic magical displays of power. Man, we got to get back in, guys. We jump back in. You know, Divot Real, you're still floating in the plane of death, half here, half there. You know, you can see the corporeal forms of the city around you. Your allies standing in the broken out windows of the coral throne room of Elmyyra. You know, from your vantage point, you can see the city now without the stain of shadow upon it, but rather just these like beautiful ivory and golden towers with emerald tips, and you know the beauty of this Eladrin architecture. That is, you know, the gem of the sea, the city of Elmyyra. And you guys are floating in the cosmic space, death, you know, still lingering behind you. Brunor, you're standing there, you know, having used the royal power of this gauntlet in front of you. You see that the burning fire that surrounded the gauntlet now fades. You know, you're still wearing the gauntlet, but that burning shadow fire has been purified by the light of your royal lineage and this courageous act that you've just done. So it's not burning you anymore. You know, you see that even the bone, like the areas where like the skin had burned away is like healing up almost like magically, like when Tina heals you, you see like your wounds just start closing. And although you still have the gauntlet on, it is no longer like searing the skin away. You see Tina puts her hands down and she just kind of stands looking at with you. Thoricus, you on either side of them. The firebird, finally goes dormant. The Cha, the cry of the stone army, calls out, and you hear it even in the realm of death. Divot, Rial, you're kind of in the in-between place right now. You see death behind you considering the throne, the wisping souls of the lost around you. What do you do?
So when we're channeling the energy into these beings, I have to keep a small part of that energy from each being, and that's what's going to power me and Rial. So I give them their whole selves, but I want to keep most of their fear and anger because they don't really need it, and the anger will fuel him, and I can use the fear.
Nice, yes, like filtering out, as these souls are whisked through the filter of the compassion of the mind of Rial Othravan, they are then double buffed again through the open mind of Divot, who offers to strip them of their fears and their angers as you usher them toward this new life. Almost as if both of your minds have served as screens to draw out, to both remove the negatives and inject the positive light of compassion within these spirits as you sent them back to the earthly realm. Divot, this works. You find yourself, filled, they're not your fears, but you can't help but be overwhelmed by the power of fear and how much a strong motivator it is in each of these spirits' lives. The animals that come by in fear of being hunted by a predator, the soldiers that fly through your mind, that fear of being killed by their oppressors, the free people who fear being manipulated, obligation. It's the fears of every living being, something that's somewhat tragic to you as you realize just how much fear you can draw out of each of these spirits. Rial, similarly to how you realize just how much room there is for compassion in each of these spirits. And so as both of you kind of consider the finer balance of this realization and you pass these souls through you, you are able to channel the energy necessary to fuel both you and Rial. Your revenant life source is still committed to the 6 months of life split twixt you and he. 3 months remain on either side of that equation, but no longer devoid of the power granted you through your exchange with Sithis and the consumption of Rial's acorn. You now source your life source from both the power of fear and the other one that I forgot. What was it was fear and anger. Got it.
Am I still in, an audience with Divot and Death?
Yes.
Okay. Divot. I want to beckon, if we can see the throne still. The bone throne. The old bone throne.
You feel its cold stone touch as you even lay eyes upon it. The temperature around you cools.
Is this something you want?
I care not for the red tape and hypocrisy that thrones bring. I'm just trying to party for as long as possible, bro.
I'm right there with you. And if I can be the other side to your coin, here I am. Death! Yo, Death!
Yo. You see Death turns. Here, let me bring you guys back, because I like this. We're back in the realm of death, so here we go. You see his...
I start beatboxing for Rial, because he looks like he's about to fucking spit it.
Provided a sick beat by the withering lips of Divot.
Yeah, I'm not as good at this as I used to be, because I'm like...
He's still got some bard, it's okay.
So yeah, you see the somewhat sorrowful magical eyes, the spinning purple circles at the core of these eye sockets of the red mask of death, as he looks down upon you and considers what you're saying, Rial. Go ahead.
Death, the composer of life. Really? Didn't think about that. Hey, you seem tired. The place is looking a little bit less wired. Shit's going crazy. Souls here, there, everywhere. all the souls. I can fix that for you. I'd love to, if you give me the chance. I was born unnaturally, but here I am, unnaturally. Dead, alive, who gives a fuck? Here I am. If you need a break, this is the guy to do that for you. Steak. It's good, right?
Sick beast, bro. She's just like, well, I'm just a creature of destruction, never coming back. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do a whole. We're not doing the death beatbox scene yet.
Yes.
He just starts. She does like a K kick and yeah.
Thanks
all right,
for allowing that. I still feel like ooh.
So you see, as these magical, sorrowful eyes lay upon you, Rial, and you're offering him, as if he was a thirsty man in the desert, this glass of water. It's like he is currently seemingly abject from this absolution of his position. He seems somewhat distracted from what his purpose and cause is. And you now know, sharing this life essence of Divot, he seems to look down on Divot as a possible predecessor, someone to continue on this legacy, perhaps in a new way or a new light. There's something about the energy of Divot that has appealed to him in their many encounters, and he looks upon you now with the same, as a favored child of sorts. That there's something about your presence in this place, the compassion you both have showed him, that weighs with him in this moment, and he looks upon you. 3 months, Othravan. 3 months of life. What you do with life will show me what you would do with death. Show me who you are, Othravan.
I certainly shall. And, Your Eminence, if it's not too much, because I've got 3 months left, I'll show you what I've got, but depending on what the eternal afterlife has to say, would you mind giving me a touchstone to Thoricus Onyx Heart?
You see, he holds his skeletal hand out. Boom! Just a little bit of magic heats it up. Thoricus, you hear the static through the rocky talkie for a moment, and you know you're connected through the plains.
Cool. Cheers, my friend.
You see, he looks at you. He says, "You will show me what you are, Rial, and it is time I show you what I am." And you hear the heavy steps of his feet as he ascends the stone staircase. And you hear the snapping of his bones and the wrestling of his spine as he settles into the throne once more. And you begin watching these spirits around you that are remaining wisp away, as if he has retaken the throne for this 3-month period. You need not worry that the souls of those lost have no course. He finds it. If you must prove to him something, then he has something to prove to you all as well. And so he has retaken the throne and begun sorting out the souls it kind of stuck in his realm at this moment. So you guys have freed him of some burden, and he at least is willing now to return to his task.
Check back in 3. See you in 3.
And he's so lonely because he tries to do it by himself. You handle the books, I'll handle the looks.
He's got so many opportunities. Death can make so many friends. Really, you show up, you're like, "Hey, I'm Death." What up?
Dude, do it Meet Joe Black style. Go into Brad Pitt's body. That's what I would do. I'd be like, "All right, I'm Brad Pitt now. Yeah, life is amazing." Well, no shit, asshole. You're in Brad Pitt's body. Life is pretty great when you're in Brad Pitt's body.
As long as it's not Meet Joe Black, Brad Pitt body, because...
Right, after getting hit by the car sequence. Still one of my favorite things that's ever happened in a movie. It was terrible. Nobody was ready. I'm sorry, I'm so sidetracked at this point, but no one was ready for that.
Can I still counter it with, how fucking hot he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like on the roof. Jesus Christ, that's the body death.
He doesn't, bro. Yeah, like now he's like this. Oh, he's entering that Robert Redford.
Does Brad Pitt want to voice Brian? We could just probably send him an email, see what he's up to.
Totally. Yeah, I'm gonna hit up Brad. We were gonna probably talk later anyway, so I'll add that to the list of things that we talk about. He loves Weed&d. Brad Pitt loves Weed&d. I said it.
Yeah.
So
Big Water. It's all about Big Brad Pitt and
Big Brad.
We know Brad Pitt is behind Big Water, and we're coming.
Yeah.
And we're coming for you.
Just because he makes you so wet.
If you rearrange the letters in Brad Pitt, it's Big Water. Don't at me.
BP. Big Brad Pitt.
Big Brad.
They call that a palindrome.
Just a big bad Brad.
We've lost the raids. All right. So yes, Rial, your connection to Thoricus on the prime material plane connects. You know, you can almost look back behind you, and it's like there's like a big window of this portal between you and their realm, and you can like see him like in the window, like, oh shoot, you can watch. It's like when you watch somebody get a phone call from you. They're like, he like looks at it for a second. He's like, all right, kind of hurts your feelings.
Hey, buddy.
There it is. The magic connects.
Keeping that portal open for you.
Oh my god. Best friend. Lot to catch up on, but you gonna do it in a second?
Oh yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure I hadn't heard from you in a while, so everything's good.
Yeah, it was spotty. Like, it was rough, but okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll pick it up later.
Cool. We'll see you in a second.
Okay, I love you.
I love you.
Kisses the stone. Please always do that.
Yeah.
Kisses the stone, puts it away.
That's how you turn it on and off. It's like copy to cassette.
All right, so as Death resumes his activities, you see him connect to that thing that is bigger than just, any one individual soul, even your two powerful souls. He seems lost in his job again. And you kind of look back upon the prime material plane where your allies rest, in the throne room of Elmyyra. And that's gone. And you've got this cosmic gateway between you guys, and you start hearing the chaws. Cha, cha, cha. And you see, as climbing out of the great cracks in the earth, these stone hands start climbing out. Now, the statues didn't turn into not stone. It's still a statue army. 10,000 statues start climbing out of the great crevice in the ground, divided by your cosmic energy display. And you watch as they all start climbing out. Now the great kraken is still hovering in the sky over the treasury. The big moment of the army coming out, watching the ranks of hundreds at a time coming out of each part of this ledge of this crack in the ground, seems to amuse him for the time being, as he's kind of transfixed watching this great stone army come out of the cracks. As they start, filling the streets of the city, they seem intent to all be walking almost back to an audience with the royal throne room itself. Brunor, you're kind of standing in the window, Tin at your side, Thoricus with you, and Dr. Gast and Captain Creefus are just kind of like backed off a little bit and are letting you guys be the heroes that you are. And don't seem intent on combat or anything of the sort. You see Creefus, is still kind of eagerly awaiting Divot returning and possibly fulfilling the end of his bargain. And so you're standing as you watch, Rial, Divot, you're watching from this portal as you see the streets are filled with these 10,000 stone statues, and they all gather around the royal throne, the royal castle, and they fill the streets around the area. You see these stones of these once Triton-looking, stone statues, each kind of modified by the energies within them and kind of an infusion of magic. Each of them appears how they would wish to be, but they are made of stone. And you see as the populaces, the many changed souls, some elf, some human, some dwarf, fill the streets. You hear the looming steps echoing as their stone feet step on the hard stone ground of the kingdom of Elmyyra. And there's a great confluence of energy and commotion that all stops. And once more, Brunor, you feel that onlook of the people. Now, not necessarily just your people. These spirits that that are inside of these statues are an amalgamation of the spirits of the dead from the plane of death, given purpose from Divot, filtered of their fears and angers, instilled with compassion. and what remained of the light of the people of Elmyyra within the ranks of Exonius's army. So you feel this strange connection to these people, even though they may not be exactly the subjects and the people you knew of the town. But you are looked upon right now as a ruler would be, with an audience of the kingdom before them. What do you do?
Can they hear me call to them, or do I need to kind of make my way down?
Yes,
Can
so
I
similarly to the Mayan
window?
ruins, something cool about the Mayans, they, in their speaking chambers where the leader would stand, the acoustics of the city were built as such as to make it where everybody in attendance could hear the voice. And so too, the fine Eladrin craftsmanship of these cities, you know, if you speak from the royal throne room, it is heard throughout the halls and the streets of the kingdom.
Fucking Mayans, incredible. Okay.
Mayans, man.
Okay. Chilla.
Their stone faces stare at you.
Welcome to what was left of the kingdom of Elmyyra. It doesn't have to be that anymore. This place belongs to you now. This is all yours, and you don't have to answer to anybody unless you want to. My friends and I are filled with glorious purpose, with excellent purpose, if you will. We are meant to go on and get rid of this ultimate evil, and we can't do it alone. If you want to continue to have this, what I probably expect to be infinite life until you are done with your own purpose, or if you are an unrested spirit that has to have glorious battle for your purpose to be fulfilled, come with us. Otherwise, this is your city. You can make it as peaceful as you want. You'll have to deal with those consequences, but my lineage fucked y'all over, so I don't think we have the right to have anything to do with this anymore. And if I'm the last surviving one that gives a shit because I'm here, which is weird and ironic, that I'm the one here at the end of the day, you guys could probably do better than me or Exonius or Ulara. So that's the offer I give you.
You stand in the broken window of the castle, you know, looking down as the onlooking gaze of 10,000 stone eyes stares back at you. And never comfortable with the leadership role that was kind of thrust upon you through your life. You know, you've joked many times about how, you know, coming up with the right thing to say is always so difficult for you in the moment. But in this moment, Brunor, perhaps the true words of the king we all wish we could have. The absolution of your own power. Gifting this thing that people would die for back to the people who died for it. And you watch as the stone faces of each of them react in their own way. And you see how truly 10,000 souls, even standing in stone bodies, each differs in the way they react to the things that occur around them in the world. Some seem angry. Some seem betrayed. But the great most of them seem relieved, seen, accepted, filled with a purpose that perhaps they never had before. And you watch as those that seem slighted by your words find encouragement in those that did not. And you see a wave wash over these people. These lost souls, you know, wandering in the void of undeath. Some for years as servants to Exonius. Some recently just trapped while death took a holiday. And you see as each of them contemplates the worth of their own life and the values and what matters to them. And some, Brunor, you see immediately begin marching toward the ships of the kingdom, where the navy, the great army of the people of Elmyyra would gather. And you see that indeed some of these souls, you're not sitting there counting them or anything, but a good portion of them, let's say easily 1,000 by number, begin walking to the boats and seem to be ready to stand as the military of Elmyyra. Some of these people start returning to homes and bars, and you see them contemplating what this new life may be, but it's their life. And some of them don't feel allegiance to you or the fallen kingdom or wish to seek out the horrors of battle. Maybe some of these guys are soldiers that have existed for, thousands of years and have seen battle and battle and battle and are just now given this chance. And so you watch as the crowd of 10,000, about 2,000 of them, as one final sign of respect for your family, they kneel and bow. But they do it with their back to you. So, the weight of the actions of your family will loom heavy in the memory of what Elmyyra is and what it is to become. But you have given 10,000 souls a new life. All 3 of you, really. And all 5 of you, really. And so as this moment kind of sits, you look back on the throne of death, who kind of gestures with a skeleton hand and casts you back into the royal throne room. Rial and Divot, you feel the blue tile underneath your feet as you return to the room. You see your allies standing there, Bruenor, after this great speech, and watching the divergence of her people. What do you guys do?
If I may, real quick, I see that there's a perfectly good body just laying around. And I creep over to Rial's body, and I know the portal behind us from Death World is still there, I guess.
Yeah, closing.
I'm like, hey, Death, hold on 1 minute. And I'm gonna use my ability to raise this body. I'm gonna create a zombie out of Rial's body because I want Death to be not alone, and I want him to get to know Rial a little bit better. So allow me to make this zombie and tell it to keep Death company for a little while.
Yo, that's way better than me just putting him in the Krampus sack, because that's what I was gonna do.
I can't leave a body around you guys. You start cutting off
There's no room
penises.
in the Krampus sack. It's not because there's the dragon dung in there, but there's just no room.
All right, so you animate dead.
Oh,
And you
fuck.
pull... You raise a zombie out of the... So again, just to clarify the magic of what's gone on here. So the body of Rial Othravon, created by the fractionation ritual of old Auntie Agatha, Urgon the Archmagus, and Sithis, that body has now died. From it, the spirit of the goodness of Sithis that was removed in that fractionation ritual and placed within that vessel, Divot returned to life as a revenant. So Rial, you're still revenants, you still have some of your high elf stuff, you lose some of your ability if you gain dark vision. You don't have to eat, you sleep, you don't sleep, but you pensively meditate for 4 hours or something like that. You only have 3 months of life left. You feel the beating acorn from within the heart of Vegeta Shalefist all the way in the city of Nombul Deer, back near Emerella and the Malachite Mountains. But that's it. That's the life that you are now. And so this body is absolutely animatable. So you create an undead servant. It turns into a zombie.
Like Diablo 2 rules, can I grab my shit?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you're well, let me get my magic items real quick. And you pull off this stupid zombie that's just looking at you as you're let me get that necklace. And it's trying to bite at you, and you're no.
I'm just no, you look good. You look good.
He's bashful.
Yeah.
Well, you don't see a lot of bashful zombies.
I can just give the zombie a simple command, so I'm bro out.
He's Puts a hat on backwards and some sunglasses. So he goes. I like this idea. Obviously, it's a little bit outside the bounds of what Animate Dead would do. But in this case, you've got the plane to Death's Gate. You want him to get to know Real a little better. What better way than to hang out with the zombie version of him? And so who knows? Maybe one of them's really dirty, one of them's really clean, and we'll have like an odd couple situation. And it'll be like zombie.
If you like the leftovers, then you're gonna love the main course. See you in 3 months, buddy.
You're like, hey, body, I'll see you later, bro. And it's like, Real, your zombie's super bashful.
Oh.
He's like all the parts of you that were zombie.
That's cool. Now
We
Real's
just
just like really confident, like.
You're like one of those Russian dolls. There's just like, and then the happiness from that was put inside the sorrow from that guy, and that guy's sense of humor was put inside this Tic Tac. And that's Real. It's all of them are zombies now. Though.
Whole time.
All right, so Real's bashful zombie goes in, and you see just as the portal closes, he like kind of like confused zombie, like, what am I doing? He just kind of walks in and stands at the throne of death. And you see him start kicking a rock around, which seems to amuse Death. And you're like, hey, maybe this was a good idea after all. And it's like, boop. So the portal closes, and yes, the corpse of Real that had the spirit of life removed from it was then animated as a zombie, and now is hanging out with Death. Fucking awesome.
Welcome to Weed&d.
This really is right up our alley. I'm not even like, what a weird thing. It's like, nah, this tracks. All right, so you guys are all standing around basically this window. You know, again, I like not. You don't have to concern yourselves necessarily with it, but you watch outside of the window as this order from not the order, but this last decree from Bruenor to kind of obfuscate the power of the throne and grant everybody the life that they would choose to have. This life, you're a stone statue now, but you are alive, and what do you want to do with that life? It seems to have struck a chord within all of them, as they all seem to be, going on. You still see some of them just kind of standing around. You're like, are they statues still? And they're just dumbfounded, like they don't even know what to do. So they're still as statues. But others seem to pretty quickly get to it. Like the idea of like, you see like one's just like, huh, and you just see him just start running outside of the city, just like in a full sprint. His stone body keeps him to the base of the wall of the ground. And you just see he's like, I'm going that way. And he just starts running that way. But yes, you do see as like a small military contingency is gathering near the armory, which if you'll recall, when you guys came in, it was like that was off to the left and you guys ended up kind of going to the right. So kind of where you came, where all like the ships and everything, the dock area near that is like where the army and the navy would gather. And so some of those spirits seem to be going that way, but that's what's happening outside of the castle. You guys, can't help but kind of check back in with the Kraken. And you see it finally, after just, kind of witnessing all of these events that have occurred, you just see its giant, electric blue maw turned down. And you see the rows of teeth all around the outside of its mouth start rotating, almost like a saw. And you see he turns his mammoth mouth, again, wide enough to house a ship, 60 feet wide at least, as this giant, almost drill of teeth goes through the core roof of the treasury of Elmyyra and begins digging down even deeper than where the subterranean army of stone was buried. Beyond, kind of makes quick work through the crevasse where it's now empty because there's no longer these stone armies. But you watch as the entire shape of the Kraken forces himself into the earth, almost just destroying the treasury as he goes through it for whatever he is looking for beneath. That's where you guys are. What do you want to do?
Ooh. Holy shit, Real, you're here. You're here? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here for now.
Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you. He called me earlier. I was going to tell you he was fine. My bad.
I forgot to tell you he called.
I forgot.
It's on the fridge.
There was so much going on.
Dead,
Cha.
Cha. I want to take a knee as well because respect. Fucking
Cool.
respect.
It was a group effort. We all did it. It's fine.
But
Hats off, King.
Yeah.
King.
Cool. So, so you're okay? You're fine?
No, I'm good. One thing real fast. I'm gonna run to Captain Creefus and give him his coat and hat back.
Nice.
You see, as you kind of walk up to him and you hand it back to him, he's like a man a little changed. Like, it's like not only did he lose his chains, but his sweet coat and his sweet hat also gone. I mean, like, does this guy ever get a break? And so, yeah, let me return him to his glorious artwork.
Today's the day, buddy. I kept it safe for you.
So we're gonna go through the transition, just like a fashion show. You see, like,
Like Sailor Moon.
that's the wrong one. I did the wrong one. Dang it.
It's like a Sailor Moon thing where he's putting the hat on and it's
We're
like
going
do 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 do.
Oh my
All right,
God,
so yeah,
that makes him feel
Sailor
better.
Moon.
Just like
Dread Sailor Moon. Dread Sailor Moon. We're on it. So yes, you see as a little bit of life has returned to his eyes, and you see Divot as his hat is returned to him, and his chain and his jacket is returned to him, and he slides it over his scarred body, pierced and severed with all these like chains just kind of pushed through the chain loops, tearing at the skin. He's covered in scars and cuts. And, the bear trap that kind of hangs off his shoulder. He slides his sweet leather coat back on. He puts his big captain's hat with the sweet, brilliant plumes of various birds back on. And as some of his things that make him feel like himself have been returned, you see he kind of looks past Rial and at you, hoping for what you had promised him.
Okay, it's gonna look so bad if I can't do it after bringing Rial's body back to life. So I realized that I think about it and I'm like, I know that I can bring bodies back from the dead, but I don't know if this chain is a body or not. But I'm like, you know what? I got an idea. And I look at him, I'm like, all right, I said I would try. So I take the chains and I throw them on the ground. And I kind of make them into the shape of a little person. And then I cast Animate Dead again.
Okay.
as you're going, I'll throw some prestidigitation in there, like make the chains jump a little, like oh.
Just to make it seem like he's really giving it a good try.
Yeah.
I got you, buddy.
I mean, I'm giving it a shot, you know. I told him I would
No,
try.
exactly.
All right. Divot, I actually have to ask you. If you could, would you bring these chains back to life?
Here's what I would really love. I would love to bring the chains to life, but in the form that they're in now, like a little chain person. And it's like not the same personality as what he was used to, but it's still attached to him. And so now he's got like a weird stepdad having to raise the kid that he didn't know kind of thing with it instead of...
Humble this man.
He's like, oh shit, hold on, I gotta take care of my chains.
Oh my god.
I love that this whole time Thoric is just like, man, they're undoing the thing I did.
All right.
What?
You burn the spell slot, you cast the Animate Dead, the fusion magics of Rial, and you see even, again, Tina awfully quiet, but she's still around with her mastery of life magic as well. You all give it a little bit of a go, it's like there's these, although chains, are not a beast or a creature that you could raise, there is something to these living chains, like there is a soul or a wisp of an essence or something that was within them. And you can try using your magics to re-imbue that. We're gonna leave it to the dice. Divot, I'm gonna give you a 50% chance here. I'm gonna be generous. You can go high or low, and if you pick the one you roll, you get that. Yeah, it's like 1 through 49. I did it wrong last time. I mean, that's 50 through 100. But yeah, you get to pick high or low, and then you get to roll it.
Yeah, I'll go high.
Yeah, me too, bro.
All right, 100.
Yeah, 1d100.
Ah! Oh, so
10. It looks like 100, doesn't it? Some people I've heard rule that as 100. I'm not one of those people. And if you are one of those people, I hope you find a support group and that you can get the kind of help that you need. Because that's a 10. I'm sorry.
My friend.
So yes, Divot, you try to reanimate the chains, and reinstill the life that's in them back, once again. And it's just, this confluence of energy, this high surge of magic that you've just called upon to both kill Real, consume the egg. It's like you just don't have the power right now. You've used so much of your essence to actually bring back what it was. But something does come back. And you see as the chains, like you've mentioned, in the form of this weird little like chain child, it's just the outline of a little boy. And you see as you kind of like some of the magic, you see it just kind of sits up and then mindlessly starts looking around. And you see Crephas's eyes just lock on this creature. And you see it kind of stand up, and it's like a 2-year-old as far as its ability to walk. It's like kind of stumbly a little bit in the water, and it's just kind of stumbling around. And you see Crephas like confused and then angry and then happy and then confused and then angry and then happy, and he's kind of going through a confluence of emotions. And he looks at you, Divot, and he's like, what's this? What is this? You said you'd bring him back. That's not them. But he can't stop looking
bring
at
the chains back to life, man.
You see the chains kind of stumble and fall over, and instinctively, Crephas rushes over to them and like grabs him by the waist and like stands him back up. And you just see this again. He had some kind of weird relationship with the chains before. You see, Divot, that this weird little chain creature thing, he's like bonded to. This stepfather relationship you're mentioning has like, that's exactly what's happened. And he just kind of like leaves, like he just walks off, and he's like chasing this little chain thing around. And he's not out of the throne room, he's still around, but he doesn't seem to be like focused on you guys at all. And Dr. Gast just starts laughing, just wow, what a day, huh? Well, I think it's time that I go. And he starts trying to walk out.
No, not so fast. I'm gonna put him in the sack.
With the dick?
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Does that need a roller? Or like, no, he's...
What if he's a dick?
He's a dodgy fella.
Yeah, it would be a melee attack, Real. And he's got an armor class. Let me pull it up here. I actually have it. It is a 15 AC. So if you can hit him with a melee attack, you try to bag him. This might change how this goes a little bit.
What melee should I roll? Like, can I roll throw fucker or?
Yeah, that's because you're not proficient in the bag. So just roll a d20 and add your strength modifier.
All right, d20. Fuck this guy. He's such a problem. I hate him. So 12.
-1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not super strong.
11.
So yeah, again, it's hard to swing a bag underwater. So you like start kind of running over to him and like not so fast. And he's like, wait, and he kind of like jumps to the side. The cigar in his mouth is still going, and you're just kind of like, a bunch of water is getting into the bag. You're like oh shoot, I don't want to fill it with water. But yeah, you try to swoop and grab at Dr. Gast. He's continuing to try to like go to leave. So if anybody else wants to try and stop him, you can.
It's like having jeans on in the pool. It's the worst. You're just like, everything's slower.
God, that's the worst. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right, I have a crazy idea, and I'm on a roll. I haven't had this spell before, so I'm gonna try one more time. I realize that Dr. Gast's body is mostly made up of other bodies.
Yes.
So I look at his legs, and I'm like, I'm gonna maybe try to animate this guy from the neck down. Like he is a body. I don't know. Maybe I can take some of his agency away from him. If he's just a head on a skeleton that I control, that would be hilarious. I don't fucking know.
Also, you go hang out with Death. Just keep like sending people in the Like, I hate this.
All right, here we go.
What's gonna happen?
24
What's
hours.
gonna happen?
Because again, this is yes, Divot. You look upon it's basically like a pile of scattered bones, and you're trying to animate the undeath within them. You know that's not Dr. Gas. Dr. Gas has been just a skull before, and so you cast the animate dead on him. All right, only fair he gets a saving throw, I say. I know it's not a spell that has a saving throw, but this is a little outside of the realm. So, Divot, what's your spell save DC?
Let me double check.
It's
18.
oh man. All right, you have DC 18. We will give him. Let's see. So you're animating. It's gonna be Constitution. This is his body, and he has a pretty decent con save. He has +5. So I'm gonna unblind it because this is a fun roll. And Divot, yes. Here we go. He needs to get a 13 or better to pass the saving throw.
Take his body. Take.
Oh, he passed! Oh,
God damn it.
All right, so Divot, here's what you see. You go to animate a bone. Now you use the spell slot. I'm not taking this away from you. You see as you cast it, one of his like rib bones breaks off. Boop, and just before your beam hits it, it like catches the beam from hitting his skeleton body. And he continues like kind of like tiptoeing his way out, like he's a slippery little fish. But the bone that you cast it on turns into a skeleton. So you did animate a skeleton as the ability Animate Dead provides you.
Wait, Dr. Gast, hold on 1 second. Do you know what Phil is going after? Phil McCracken?
You see,
Phil?
he's like, de primordial. I don't know about you, but I would assume he's come for the tea. As he's kind of backing away. He's like, right? Like I'm telling you everything you wish to know, so I'm going to back away and everyone.
What's the tier?
Listen, I just wanted you to know, before you go, I don't know what the hell you're about to go do. I a little bit don't give a shit either, but we are aware of the location of a luck blade. I'm just here to stir the pot now.
Yo, you say that, and he's like, a deluxe blade, the wish, the power to bend reality. You wish to hire the drowned hounds? He holds his hands out like, we are notorious bounty hunters. We can help you.
I actually very much would like to do that.
You see, he laughs. He takes a big draw off his cigar. Aye, how the tides of the water change all the time. Griffiths! You see, like, he's like playing catch.
Tell that chain boy to sit down.
His name is Anchor, and I love him.
He's like, Griffiths, we require our crew. Go gather Drench and bring the others. Bruno, we shall meet you on the coast. You have procured the use of the drowned hounds. For one luck blade, yes?
Ja.
Wait, aren't they getting it for us? Or we're paying it?
They're
Paying
getting
them.
it, but they're taking it. It's what they believe.
They gotta bring me pops. And
There
then
you
they
go.
can
You want
have
to?
the
Okay, so
blade.
you want to be brought Shren. That's what they.
Yeah.
Notice I say they can have the blade. I didn't say they could have the wish.
Right.
But they can have the blade.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Just wanted to clarify on that. Tweaks.
So yes, just to clarify the D&D of it all, the Drowned Hounds. So you want to package Shren with that, Divot? I just wanted to clarify. Is that what you want to do there? Like have him bring you Shren?
He's who's got it, right? So if
As far
we're
as you
sending him after the blade, yeah.
So again, as far as you know, you guys don't know what's happened between the last time it's like there would be some risk depending on what you play with. Yeah, exactly. And Shren, a leader of the land bounty hunters.
Yeah.
So he's not necessarily easy quarry, but they've said that like this idea of getting their hands on the luck blade entices them, and they're willing to maybe bring you Shren to get it. Whether they'll be able to or not is to be determined.
I wish them luck. Best of luck.
Cha, I just feel like that would be a really good way for you to use your time until I see you next. But let's meet on the coast and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Ah, you see, pleasure doing business with you. And he bows, he takes his little hat off. But that's what makes him alive, and he turns into bones. Kidding. Yes.
Shit.
I did it
Give me
again.
my hat, please.
Shit. Somebody pick me up. All right, so yeah, you see, he's like, Creefus, come. We must gather the crew. And you see Creefus is like grabs the little chain hand of the little boy, and he's like, come along. And he's an insane person. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, this is like he is quickly really connected to this, that strange connection between him and the chains, compounded in its strangeness, as he and this little toddler of chains walks and goes with Dr. Gast out of the kind of the southern part of the room, the main doorway to the chamber, past the pews where the shadow jury sat.
Right now he's just a little chain boy, but one day he'll be a chain male. I hate I couldn't. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, we're not rolling a lot of crits, so I'll smoke to that.
I'm smoking to that for sure. Nara
Right.
Sume Lai, fire above, breathe green.
Chain male. Motherfucker.
All right. The Drowned Hounds leave the throne room. The the kind of ambient holy light that's been filling the chamber dies down, as if the spirit of these ancient warriors that had stood you with their virtue have ceased to do so. They return to the lifeless, emblazing stone, unlike the living stone that now populates the city. You see, there's just a scale skeleton standing there. It's your animated dead skeleton is standing by you. Let me give you control of him if I can.
So I look at him and I look at Bruno and I'm like, if you don't want to sit on that throne, he can keep it warm for you.
Cha, fuck it, I don't care. Sure.
All right, so just so you are aware, Divot, if you're not within 60 feet of it, it just becomes like an undead.
Yeah, but there's nobody here anyway. Fuck them.
That's awesome. It's like, when you're going through a dungeon and you're like, why are there skeletons here? Like, what do they do all the time? It's actually the guy before you is like, it's like, I'm just going to leave some skeletons here for the next guy.
Okay, so I am a bard, right? So like, while we're all talking, I'm like scribing kind of what happened today and how badass it was when Brunor killed the dragon and blah, 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 blah. And like, whatever. So that he's just like a walking tale of what happened in this city.
Such a good...
Awesome. Yes, you weave the magic of like your songs as the words and the phrases of your melody are emblazoned upon this skeleton, and you basically have like turned him into like a tome of your exploits on this day. You're like, please turn to the back, and you're like, continued Amphibia, and you're like, it's like a choose your own adventure.
Really good.
Yeah, the really, really good looking Divot summoned the black magic and was super cool about it. All right, yeah, so the skeleton just like, while you control him, is like, we're skeleton. He just kind of goes over, sits on the throne, and then, when you're 60 feet away from him, he just becomes like a normal skeleton. And it's like, just wandering around like, stab.
I just think of like a Halloween skeleton.
Yes.
Watch out, guys.
Yeah. He's like, and you're like, get out of here, skeleton.
Yeah.
Thork is like picking up armor, like, all right, get off it. Get out. He's like,
Like, no, man. Like that video of the guy like gently redirecting a shark. It's the same thing, just going like, no.
Just get out. Get out of here. Get out.
I'll
Sit
stay
on the
like
throne.
49 or 59 feet away until we're like ready to leave.
Yeah, exactly. You got like 1 foot on it. You keep like sliding it back and forth, and he's like,
Over the line, dude.
Can I at least throw like a little poof on that skeleton, like use disguise self on the skeleton?
Sure.
Is that doable?
Yeah. I mean, it has a duration and everything. It would follow those rules.
It's still in the same boat, but If it can just be Brunor, like Brunor, at her best.
Oh,
All right. So yeah, you know, for a second, Brunor, you're like hit with the weird. You just like watch the skeleton through illusion magics. You know, just like the spell just goes over him, and you see it's just like yeah, Brunor just standing there. And it's like but like making Brunor sounds, but skeleton sounds, just like but in
like,
your body.
If it makes it feel any better, like I want to Josh Brunor. Can we roll for Josh?
Give me a roll for joshing.
What is it? D20?
Yeah.
D20, baby. Josh it up.
Hey, that's pretty good. No, it's not.
You're trying to josh with Brunor. She's looking at like her, like a version of herself, but with the skeleton sounds coming out of its mouth, standing near the throne that she just kind of absconded to the people. And again,
You're
tough
vibing
to
on
josh.
this, aren't you?
You know, you realize, Real, as you go to kind of push her, that your hands, you look a little different now. You're a little paler than you used to be. There's, you know, the circles under your eyes are a little darker. You're not, you know, you're not a zombie or anything, but like, you're not quite as alive as you used to be. And so, you know, this kind of like really cold, clammy hand touches you, Brunor, and you're just like, oof. You know, it's like an initiation of Josh. Now, not to say that Josh doesn't occur, but an 8 Josh, you know, and unfortunately, it doesn't like fill the castle with the uproarious Josh.
Yeah, we just have a good moment with each other. We're like, yeah, sugar buddies.
Yeah, Thoricus, you're like, hey, that's my best friend.
And, sorry, man, Jesus.
Just stand there. Hey guys, so what are we doing?
Sorry.
Well, holy shit. Okay. Wow. We had a very busy day today. I say so myself. So holy shit, we gotta like figure out what to do next.
That'd be good. Plan is nice.
Well,
I have no interest in getting in Phil's way.
yeah, I don't know what to do about the nightmare of my childhood digging into the ground
Scary.
right now. That's like something, that's a bridge I do not want to cross. I don't know.
The Kraken in the room, if you will.
Yeah.
He doesn't hate us
Let's
right
address
now,
the Kraken in the room.
No, I don't want to fight a Kraken. I just kill the Shadow Dragon. In fact, I know that Brian's not doing so hot right now. He's got low health, so
The skeleton's like, "Rah." Brian's just like, no.
yeah.
Love me.
You see Brian with that eye patch.
Brian, would it heal Brian to feed him Clam Margera's book?
I guess there's only one way to find out, right?
I want to do it.
a little roughage.
All right, going over and you know, having eaten the Tuna Hawk book to unlock the magical power of the statue within, you're like, Brian, you hungry? And he's like, "Brr," and you see, he like runs over to the book. All right, he does. He eats it, and he gets +5 to this. He gets 8 hit points back for eating the book of the Clamor. Now you know that the rituals, you know, that were contained within the book that allowed these statues to be operated are now like lost to the sands of time within Brian's belly. But the statues remain. But yes, he does get a little bit of healing back from consuming the book. I apologize. Again, the book is on the map. I can't. Oh, you know what I should do?
You got a square?
Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Square.
Do I got a square?
Square.
Look at this. I'm gonna take that book. I'm gonna cover it in
Square
squares.
time.
Oh my god.
Covered in squares.
Squares.
Look at that. Look, I
wish
got a
Abby
stray
was
square.
here.
That's not an accident. There's no mistakes in art.
The squares for Abby. The squares for
Squares
Abby.
for Abby.
Squares
Abby
for Abby.
squares.
Lighters up.
Oh, lighters up.
Lighters up.
Squares for Abby.
Squares for Abby.
All right.
Squares.
So you guys, you see as Brian kind of chokes down this book. Again, this Kraken's not in the room, but it's like the Kraken in the room, if you will. You hear the sounds of like the crumbling, the boring earth. This creature is now, when you look, you almost just see this little top half of it. The tendrils and whipping spines and tentacles that thrash from the base of this massive creature, almost pushing it like a turbine into the earth as its teeth kind of bore through the ground. The Kraken is pretty much completely in the earth at this point. You have the drowned hounds meeting you at the beach's nearest Nombul deer. You have the ship with Toko the Hatchet still set in the docks. You have the lingering, shadowy acorn heartbeat of Vegeta Shalefist, and who seems to be traveling with Ulara, Brunor's sister. Lots of these options weigh out heavily before you, but in this moment, you find yourself set with a decision to make. How do you wish to proceed?
Oh boy. Well, what do we say?
Maybe get back to the ship.
We can get back. Yeah, let's get back to the ship.
Rest up, maybe, talk things over, get some breakfast.
Off to Nombul Deer, rest a bit, catch up with Ubaru, and then confront your, pardon my French, but your real cunt of a sister.
Seriously, such a big cunt. She's a big cunt.
Probably.
I've never
You
met
know who
her.
else? Christopher Columbus. Huge
Yeah.
guy.
Fuck
Huge guy.
Fuck Christopher Columbus.
Fuck Ulara.
Fuck Ulara.
Fuck
Don't
Ulara
fuck
and all her
Ulara.
Christopher Columbus.
None of you don't fuck Ulara. None of you do that.
Exonius did, and look where he ended up.
That's exactly what I was about to say. This is what happens. Don't fuck Ulara.
Yeah.
On that note, yeah, I say we just get back to the ship and we rest up for a bit on our way to kick the shit out of my sister.
So
And-
I wasn't around, so I noticed that the dragon is gone.
Yes. What?
The blood song is still there, right?
So yeah, there's they're dying, Divot, with a lack of life to drink from. They expand upon blood, and as the blood has been drained from this creature, its skin devoured, its muscles consumed. This parasite is dying once again and shrinking before you. You do notice, again, a lot of big things have been happening, but there was something around the waist of Exonius that is not made of the material of men, but is instead made of this extremely heavy forged metal. That belt that was wrapped around his waist. You see us laying on the ground, almost as if a circle around what remains of the last of these blood parasites.
All right, I walk past Dorcas and I'm like, sorry, I don't bleed. And I pinprick him just a little bit, just a tiny bit, so that I can put a tiny bit of blood in my ring. I shake hands with him and he's like, ow. I'm like, sorry. And then I'm like,
fuck, bro.
Tells you your blood sugar. You see
and I do
the
the
parasites
blood
turn.
The blood whistle.
The blood suck. They're dying. The blood suck. Their little tendrils reach out, and you see the drop of blood as you see at first they try to deceive you, Divot, and they wrap on your wrist, but there's no blood to draw from on you. And so, yeah, you kind of slap them off, and they go back down onto the blood in your ring, and you watch one single mushroom, that drinks the blood and gathers the strength, and you return it to your little locked ring case for it. Pretty sweet.
They seem distracted. I'm gonna scoot that belt in the Krampus sack.
All right, you pop it in. If you want to, we can go over that at a rest, what the items are themselves. But yeah, just somebody write down the belt from Exonius.
I also want to grab the right herbs to make another firework before we head out.
Yes, you see the other desk. Brunor, this is another one of those moments where you can't help but wait a minute, these herbs, not just herbs that you would use to make a firecracker of daylight, but the herbs that you would use to make a firecracker of daylight. It's like this, there was a million ways they could go about eliciting this effect. Why these two tables with these herbs set out that happen to give you, a very powerful boon? As you saw, when Exonius was in the shadows, he was nigh impenetrable. And so
Right.
it's it was once you were able to remove the shadows from him that you actually just turned the tides of that battle. And so, you know, again, as the actions and the things that have led you here reek of Ulara, as you gather up the remaining herbs, and we'll say it's one more firecracker, you have one more of those, kind of that daylight burst. You can't help but like envision the soft, smooth hands of your sister setting these down on the table in the first place. You know, it was no mistake that they were here.
Cool beans. Very cool beans. I do what I want, and I don't like not knowing or not having like full confidence and like it was my choices that got me here. So I don't like being a puppet. It's not Swayze, man. I don't like it. It's not Swayze.
You know, you can't help but laugh a little bit, Brunor, because you know that what you did do when you were here, there's no way she could have guessed. You know, and it's like the thing about you that gets under her skin so much, only amplified in this moment. You know, you're like, as soon as she hears what actually happened, she's gonna be so pissed. Like, you know, and so it's like she, you know, yeah, maybe she pulled all the strings to get you here, but she did underestimate, you know, what you might do in this position. You can't imagine that she would foresee, you know, you giving the energy back to the stone peoples of Elmyyra and granting them their own town, free of the rule of your people. You know, that's a little outside the bounds of even a very brilliant tactical mind like your sister's. So you did, you know, you got a little punch of your own in on this battle against her. You know, you can't help but look back at the complete image of yourself sitting on the throne, just like, just kind of sitting there as a skeleton. His divot's like right at the 60-foot mark away from him. But yeah, so you guys, I just want to clarify, because it's, you know, obviously we're wrapping it up here pretty soon, but you guys wish to return to Nombaldir. That's your next objective, right? You're going to leave the Kraken?
Well,
I mean, should we go check and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you guys are free to do whatever you want here. Now, you know, the Drowned Hounds are headed off toward Nombaldir. That's what they're up to. You still have the boat with Toko. You know, your ship is still your ship, which is near the dock where the Navy and all that stuff is gathered. So you would have a little bit of an army to bring with you, and as well as, you know, protect the city or whatever you would have it do. But yeah, so that's kind of where you guys are at right now. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go over there and interact with the Kraken, you can. He's boring into the earth, and, you know, that might be a little bit of its own thing as well.
Is it possible to send somebody ahead while we, like, see what's up with Phil?
Yes. Who would you like to send? Would you just want to send that military contingent out? Anything specific, or just like one ship, or how would you want to do it?
Whoever volunteers, I guess.
Oh, like one of us?
I don't know.
Should it be Tina?
Tina,
she wakes up on a boat
you
like,
don't want to go.
And at the same time, don't we have the transportation, like, with Melora? Like,
yeah, through the Malachite Mountains.
Boat there,
but yeah, you might, you know, you're not, you know, again, you guys haven't tested the extent. You know, Melora was one of the major land masses. You know what I mean? Like, his body is what became it, would, you know, based on the primordial myths. And so you don't really know the extent, like how far his reach goes. So I would definitely allow you guys to try to connect to that energy and see if he can't pull you where you need to go. But and you know what? Again, we're just going to call it here, because I like what we're about to do, and I'd rather just play it next time. So we're going to be, you know, I just realized there's like 3 really cool things that we just mentioned that I want to see. So seriously, guys, no cliffhanger this time. That was fucking epic. So thank you guys fucking so much. Holy crap. So basically we're back. Like, the 5 are they're going to deal with with Phil McCracken, the Kraken that's boring into the earth near the treasuries, as they send off an envoy to the lands near Nombaldir. That's where we're going to pick it up next time, because I'm excited to pick it up there next time. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. This was a freaking wild, awesome, crazy sesh, and just mad fucking love to these players. I fucking love playing D&D with you guys. Seriously, in all my years, still my favorite game I've ever played. It is just wild. It's such a ride to put this little thing together with It's crazy. So thank you guys. Thanks so much for all the support, man, for just being here, for taking the time in all of the forms, populating, being awesome people on the various socials and stuff. Come hang on the Discord. Come hang on Facebook or whatever you use, man, or just come hang with us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific here on the Art Hard Studios channel. You can also catch us. We re-up every Friday at 4:20. We drop that sesh over on the youtube.com/Art Hard Studios. And remember, coming up, if you're in the Las Vegas area, 1028 Role Play House. We are doing a live Dungeons & Dragons event here at the Playhouse.
23.
1023. Oh, I said it wrong.
Yeah.
1023. I'm done. 1023 at 8 p.m. There, look at what we'll be sharing it. Those details will be right, not me after smoking for 3 hours.
Right.
So yes, 1023 here at the Playhouse, 8 p.m. live D&D experience with me, my friends Drew, Brenna, Abby, and our good gentleman Maxim. It's gonna be a wild ride, my friends, and we hope you can join us. Thanks for joining us tonight. Holy shit, guys, what a game. We got to wrap these things up, but in order to do so, we got us a little ritual we love doing around here. Make sure that you take a lighter like this guy here. Make sure you're not going to light any of your friends, your family, or your household pets on fire and go. Lighters up. Thanks for playing D&D with us, guys. For real. This is I fucking love this shit.
Fuck Christopher Columbus.
And fuck Christopher Columbus. And the stupid boats that were more myth than reality. Stupid. It's all a bunch of crap. Fuck Christopher Columbus.
Damn.
They like me now, Chris. They like me now.